Part 115. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1143. 1141. Grandma Chi-san and Old Man Chi looked at each other and understood in their hearts that this is the importance of mother. In a family, the role of the father is very important, but the role of the mother is even greater, because children spend a lot of time with their mothers since they were young, and are influenced by their mothers in a subtle way. The children washed their hands, ate delicious fish paste balls, and then eagerly waited for the Hericium erinaceus, yam, and native chicken soup. Suddenly, 20 minutes seemed like a long time to the kids. He Tian helped serve the dishes and hold the bowls and chopsticks. The children had put on smocks to avoid soiling their clothes while eating. Sitting on the bench obediently, waiting for my mother to distribute food. Because it's hot, He Tian usually doesn't let his children serve food. After all, there are nannies at home to do these things, so the children continue the family's habits here. Fortunately, Huaruiman and Huaruwa were older and saw their mother serving rice and came over to help. Grandma Chi-san and Old Man Chi sat down at the dining table. Everyone looked at the two elders eagerly, waiting for the elders to move their chopsticks before they could eat. Okay, there are not so many rules at home, so drink it quickly. But the soup is a bit hot, so be careful, Grandma Chi-san said. She was old and couldn't eat much, but when she saw the sweetness of her children's food, she also feel happy. Whenever there are children at home, Grandma Chi and Old Man Chi can always eat half a bowl of rice more. Grandpa and Grandma also drink it, Huaruiman, Huaruwa said. Huoziasan, a little turtle, is young and just drinks soup. The four children, who had been salivating for a long time, actually drank more than half of the Hericium mushroom, yam, and native chicken soup. The soup is delicious, and the yam, Hericium, and chicken in it are all delicious. The little mouth is oily and she eats happily. He Tian takes care of the older one at the top and the younger one at the bottom. However, because there are not many rules, He Tian can also eat well and eat well. After dinner, He Tian supported Granny Chi and Old Man Chi, and took the children for a walk on the street, just to eat. Look, you are wearing cotton shoes on your feet. Are they comfortable? Grandma Chi-san asked, bringing the children here. Do you also want to buy cotton shoes for the children? He Tian was surprised and said, I can't hide anything from my grandmother. I really want to buy cotton shoes for my child. They will be warm and comfortable. Yes, although leather shoes can be waterproof, when it is not raining, it is warmer and lighter to wear cotton shoes, Grandma Chi-san said. Did you buy them at the Daowen cloth shoe store in front of you? Yes, the craftsmanship is good, He Tian praised. I like it very much. It's very good, it's an old craft, Grandma Chi-san said. Before liberation, the ancestors of that family were specialized in making shoes. Many people went to order them and bought them first, and they didn't have them yet. So awesome, He Tian said. Then I have to buy a pair for my parents-in-law, grandfather, and grandmother. This is also a local specialty here, Grandma Chi-san said. I bought a few pairs some time ago and sent them to Uncle Chi, Auntie Ann, Zhengan, and Meng Meng. Your Uncle Chi likes to wear cloth shoes. Saying that leather shoes are uncomfortable to wear. It's just that I'm getting older. If I were 10 years younger, I could still make shoes, but I can't do it now. He Tian smiled and said, Grandma, your good health is the best for us juniors. He Tian went to the shoe store and bought cotton shoes for her 4 children and put them on the spot. After that, He Tian bought shoes of different sizes for her family members. Because He Tian bought shoes for other people more than once, she remembered her family's foot sizes. Because there was no ready stock, I paid a deposit and came to pick up the shoes 5 days later. There was no rush to wear it anyway, so He Tian accepted it happily. Afterwards, the group of people wandered home, but each of the 4 children had a candy painting in their hands. Eat and play at the same time. In the evening, He Tian received a call. Qi Zhenmin would be back tomorrow, followed by Tang Qian, Qi Zhengan and his wife, and Qi Shuliang and his wife, who were probably here to celebrate the new year. Grandma Qi San and Grandpa Qi are too old to travel long distances, and they are unwilling to go. As a junior, I try my best to come back and reunite with everyone during the reunion festival. Grandma, everyone is here tomorrow, let's have a good gathering, He Tian said. I will go shopping tomorrow morning and cook some good dishes with my own hands. Actually, someone in the family is going to buy groceries. You don't want to go there in person in the cold weather, Grandma Qi San said. After all, you still have 4 children to take care of, so don't be so tired. This time, Huo Yingjia didn't come. After Grandma Qi San asked, she found out that she had gone on an important mission and had no return date. Tian is a considerate person and can support everything by herself. It's okay. Except for the mistress, as long as they dress him well, they can take care of themselves. He Tian said that several children can play together and are not alone. Even at home, He Tian will not let him go. She found it difficult to take care of her, but when she arrived at Kijia village, her child became more lively and less clingy to He Tian. Okay, wait for Zhenmin to come over and ask her to accompany you to the hot spring in the back mountain for a soak, Grandma Qi San said. After the soak, I feel very comfortable. Yeah, Grandma, you will go too when the time comes, He Tian said. I will give you a massage. Okay. When Grandma Qi San saw He Tian, everything felt better and she was in a happy mood. Sure enough, in the afternoon of the next day, Qi Zhenmin, Qi Shuliang and his party came. When He Tian was preparing to eat, he also prepared the room. Fortunately, they all have their own rooms, which are cleaned and dried regularly, and can be moved in after a little tidying up. Because of everyone's arrival, the house has become more lively. That night, Qi Zhenmin pestered his mother Annie, grandmother Qi Sunay, and He Tian to take a bath together. The hot spring on the back mountain is already a very famous place. The hot spring inside has been tested and contains substances that are good for the human body. The hot spring above is not built with modern buildings, but with the kind of ancient bamboo buildings. There is a small dressing room, a shower room, and a hot spring pool in a room. The 4 of them came together and asked for a medium-sized box, which was enough. He Tian and Qi Zhenmin first served Qi Sunay to take a bath, and then started to take a bath themselves. He Tian sat in the pool with a towel she brought from home, closed her eyes, hummed comfortably, and said, "No wonder Zhenmin wanted to take a bath as soon as he came back, it's really comfortable." "Yes, it's very comfortable," Annie said. "I like it here too." Qi Zhenmin also imitated He Tian and said, "If possible, I really want to bring hot springs to Yanjing, so that we can enjoy such a life anytime and anywhere." In fact, there are hot springs in Yanjing, He Tian said. Hot springs exist in many places, it's not rare. I know there are in Yanjing, and there are also in the United States, Qi Zhenmin said, but I think it's good here, it works. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1144. 1142. Hearing this, Grandma Qi San was very proud. Grandma Qi San said with a smile, "Someone said this more than once. Part of the dividends in our village comes from the 2 local product factories, and the other one is this hot spring pool. As for the Shenlong temple on the mountain, every year in addition to leaving half of the repair costs were allocated to the village, and the other half was spent on schools and nursing homes. It seems that we can get a lot of money this year." He Tian smiled. "I have to think about how to use the money. A large part of the investment in Kijia village is to develop the economy of Kijia village and benefit the people of Kijia village. Although not everyone in the village has a good relationship with He Tian, most of them are good, and there are also upright people like Grandma Chi-san, Grandpa Chi, and Secretary Chi. He Tian felt that it was worth doing. As for the returned profits, He Tian didn't even think about taking them away and doing something for the local area to show her appreciation. Yes, Chi Jinmin said, how to spend the money. Obviously Chi Jinmin and He Tian have the same thoughts. What's wrong? Grandma Chi-san asked, are you thinking about how to spend money? Yes, I don't plan to take the dividends back from the village. I want to do something good for Kijia village, He Tian said, it's just that now the village has everything and the roads have been repaired. Without us it's useful. Haha, yes, Grandma Chi-san said, we also have a hospital in the village now, but most of the Chinese medicine used in the hospital is good, but after all, Western medicine is better now. Although the hospital has been built, it is still a little worse. How about you guys fill in the equipment? Okay, He Tian said. The hospital's equipment is relatively expensive, but it makes sense to do something like this. Chi Jinmin nodded and said, okay, I'll do it. If it's not enough, I'll add the rest for you, and said. She always agreed with her daughter's charity work. Anne has been doing charity in the United States, and her daughter is doing it in China in another way. The purpose is good and she hopes to help some people. Okay, let's talk to Dazu tomorrow and ask him to hurry up, Grandma Chi-san said, I helped him find a few rich people, ha ha ha. Because Grandma Chi-san was old, she came up to rest after soaking for a while. He Tian came up and gave Grandma Chi-san a massage. After pressing the button for a few minutes, Grandma Chi-san said, okay, Tian, I'm going to get dressed. You can continue to soak. After Grandma Chi-san finished it, He Tian went down to soak for a while. After a comfortable bath in the hot spring villa, my mother and I went down the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, He Tian walked towards a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's feet paused, but he did not stop and continued walking. He Tian glanced at the middle-aged man, but felt that this middle-aged man looked familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere. Maybe it was too long, or maybe it was an illusion, but He Tian couldn't remember. Was this woman the one who went to the store to buy brushes that day? Lu Er felt familiar. This familiarity was not just because he had seen them in the store before, so he couldn't help but compare the two women he met head-on during his escape. Isn't it? Lu Er has developed good eyesight over the years. After closing his eyes, he compared it in his mind and it seemed that she was the same woman back then. It's just that the woman doesn't seem to recognize him. Lu Er touched his face and laughed dumbly. Why should he worry about others and scare himself? It has been more than 10 years since I last left here. He has changed from a young man to a middle-aged man. He has a bigger belly, more flesh on his face, and a beard. He looks like a completely different person and is impossible to recognize. Since he can't recognize him, there's no need for him to feel guilty, and he shouldn't think about silencing him. Although Kijia village is small, it has a market, a school, a hospital, a scenic spot, a village, and a lot of people coming and going, so the police station is naturally indispensable. Although the police station is not big, there are still 6 or 7 policemen. He couldn't just look for trouble and provoke these people, but he could still live a peaceful life and investigate secretly like a normal person. After more than 10 years and becoming the head of the family, he learned more useful things. Using what he learned, Lu Er discovered something strange here, so he was sure there must be treasures or tombs here. With the development of science and technology, their methods of tomb robbing have also been upgraded. If I could still find the treasure this time, I wouldn't be as embarrassed as before. He had to make careful arrangements to ensure that nothing went wrong. Because of Lu Er's caution, no one in Kijia village noticed anything strange about him. Because hot spring baths are comfortable, He Tian goes to bathe every 3 days. With Chi Jinmin as her company, He Tian doesn't feel lonely. Tang Qian has also been walking around the village these days, looking around. When he finally caught He Tian Tian idle, Tang Qian said, "When will you return to Yanjing? We are all waiting for you to go back to hold the board meeting. We have to divide the money, so you should be more active." He Tianation's eyes lit up when she heard the money was being divided, and she asked, "How much money can I get this year?" Although there is a blockbuster movie starring Li Xian, and Chi Xiao Yan's cassette is selling well, the company is newly established and needs money everywhere, and it is estimated that not much will be spent on recruitment. However, they had been prepared to lose money before. Now that they are not losing money and can still share the money, it is an unexpected surprise. "Your shares are estimated to be divided into more than 1 million yuan," Tang Qian said. "In the first year of setting up the stall, we have no choice but to divide this much." "Actually, it's pretty good," He Tian Tian said. "Really, in a new industry, it's not easy to make a profit in the first year. We all see your efforts. Thank you for your hard work." He Tian Tian said this sincerely. Tang Qian was indeed excellent. Tang Qian smiled and said, "Oh, it's rare that you can still praise me. I have to remember that next time you don't like me, I have to remind you so that you can be merciful." "Haha, okay, I'm just a sharp-tongued person with a soft heart," He Tian Tian said. "It's also for the good of you and your wife." "That's right, I understand." Tang Qian thanked him. "Now I have a wife and children, my parents are healthy, and my career is going well, so what else can I be dissatisfied about? If I am still as bad as before and don't cherish the present, God will. If I can't bear it, I will take back my happiness." "It's best if you think so," He Tian Tian said. "Life needs to be managed. At the same time, trust between husband and wife is really important. Just like me and Huo Yingjia, no matter how good things are, I know that brother Yingjia will not. He will betray me, and I can trust him completely, and I have the same position in his heart. I hope you can do the same. Anyway, think about it again, who can a couple trust if they don't even trust each other? I recommend Kikai's new book Rebirth of Sweet Wife, The Strongest Agent. Can you guys save it and give your recommendation votes to the new book? It's on the list. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 1145. 1143. Tang Qian deeply agrees. In the past, he was on guard against Li Gongru at home. Although he was not on guard against those women outside, he just spent some money to satisfy his physical desires, but he never relaxed in his career. For Tang Qian, those women were not trustworthy. Now that he is married to Qi Jinmin, Tang Qian also understands the way of husband and wife. Love each other and trust each other. Some things cannot be told to friends and relatives, but can be told to the wife. Even if the wife can't help, but she feels comfortable when she says it. At the same time, Tang Qian thinks that he is smart, but his wife is smarter. It is the wisest decision to live with his wife honestly. There is love and family, perfect. That's right, Tang Qian said, you see it clearly. It's not that I see it clearly, but I feel it, He Tian Tian said. A person's life can be very long or very short, so I think it's better to be relaxed and happy for a lifetime than to be scheming and living in a chaotic environment. Yes, Tang Qian nodded. Now when I get off work, I want to go home. My wife and children are warm and comfortable, and I won't trade them for anything. I'm fighting outside, and I don't have to worry about a fire in the backyard. Haha, that's right, He Tian Tian smiled, very satisfied. Just as the two were talking and laughing, Zhang Mengmeng and Qi Jinmin came over. Zhang Mengmeng's daughter is half a year old. In the room, Grandma Qi-san is teasing the child. Several children are curious and gather around the crib to watch the child. Sometimes when the adults are not paying attention, they poke the child's face with their little fingers. Teacher I finally have time to talk to you. Jiang Mengmeng took He Tianatian's arm. After eating at home, I thought about the food I ate abroad. It was simply. As Jiang Mengmeng grew up in H country, she was not used to foreign food. Even though there were Chinese chefs, Jiang Mengmeng still felt that the food in China was delicious. Since you think foreign food is not delicious, you should eat more this time when you come back. He Tian said, today we have the shrimp you like, which is bought from Hawaii City. Yeah, I must eat more. Jiang Mengmeng said, if possible, I really want to stay in China and don't want to go out. But Jiang Mengmeng just thought about it, it can't be so. Qi Zhengan gradually took over the family business, most of which were in Europe and the United States. She couldn't stay in China and split up with Qi Zhengan. Fortunately, she saw different countries and beautiful scenery, which broadened her horizons and helped her writing a lot. She has published 3 exotic love novels one after another, and achieved good results. Not only did it sell well in Southeast Asia, but it also achieved good results when translated into Japanese and Korean. Are you used to living abroad these years? He Tian asked. Seeing Jiang Mengmeng and Qi Zhengan living happily, she was also very happy. Jiang Mengmeng said, I have gradually gotten used to it. I have also come into contact with many new things, which has broadened my horizons and helped me write. That's good. He Tian said, enjoy life. Qi Zhenmin saw that her sister-in-law and Tian were chatting enthusiastically, so she did not speak, but walked in front of Tang Qian and whispered to him. Tang Qian smiled happily. What are you talking about? He Tian asked. If you have something happy, say it out loud so that everyone can be happy. Qi Zhenmin smiled and whispered, I think I'm pregnant. Ah, He Tian was stunned and stared at Qi Zhenmin's belly. So soon? Sister Tian, what are you talking about? Qi Zhenmin said angrily, Tang Yu is already over 1 year old, isn't it normal for me to be pregnant? Normal, normal. He Tian smiled, congratulations, how did you know? Do you want to go to Dr. Wang to see? Congratulations, Zhenmin. Jiang Mengmeng sincerely congratulated, how lively it would be to have children at home. Go take your pulse tomorrow morning, Qi Zhenmin said, a little shy and a little happy. Tang Qian, you are so lucky. He Tian said with emotion, family planning is strict in China, and your wife is an overseas Chinese with American citizenship, so you two are not affected by family planning, you can have as many children as you want. When Tang Qian heard this, he smiled even more. That's great, Tang Qian smiled, oh, we can't have more children, Zhenmin is too tired. If Tang Qian's cousins heard Tang Qian's pretentious words, they would probably beat him up, especially those who only have one daughter in the family, who would rather have a son. Family planning may not have much impact on ordinary urban residents, but can improve the quality of life, but it is a bit far-fetched for those aristocratic families. Although women can now go into politics, they are still not as good as men. This is also their helplessness, but this is the basic national policy, there is no way, it must be implemented. In the evening, everyone seemed to know that Qi Zhenmin was pregnant. Everyone was very happy, asking this and that, making Qi Zhenmin regret saying it earlier. After breakfast the next day, everyone accompanied Qi Zhenmin to the hospital on the street. Wang Shuilian happened to come to the hospital and saw Qi San's grandmother and her family coming over, and she was a little curious. Old lady, who is uncomfortable, Wang Shuilian is already a doctor in her 50s, experienced and kind, and people in the surrounding villages like her very much. Grandma Qi San smiled and said, Zhenmin's period is half a month late. Can you take her pulse to see if she is pregnant? When Wang Shuilian heard this, she took it seriously and took out the pulse pillow and said, put your wrist on it. Then Wang Shuilian began to feel her pulse. 2 minutes later, Wang Shuilian said with a smile, I'm pregnant. The month is a little early. You can't do strenuous exercise. By the way, don't go to hot springs. Just take a normal bath. By the way, it's best after 3 months. Once the fetus is stable, let's take planes and trains again. Grandma Chi-san was even more happy when she heard this. Her granddaughter could celebrate the new year at home. Do you still need to take medicine? Grandma Chi-san asked, and everyone looked at Wang Shuilian nervously. Haha, Jinmin is in good health. He doesn't need to take medicine. Just eat normally. Medicine is poisonous, and tonics are also medicine. If you don't need to take them, don't take them, Wang Shuilian said. Go back and walk more. By the way, I'll take them. I'll give you a copy of the foods that pregnant women shouldn't eat, and just eat them when you go back. Thank you. Qi Jinmin thanked him. Wang Shuilian wrote on a piece of paper all the taboos for pregnant women. As Qi Jinmin, who had given birth once, he was somewhat familiar with these, but he still took it from Wang Shuilian very carefully and said, "Thank you, doctor." Tang Jian was almost beside himself with joy. He was about to be a father again. Everyone saw Tang Jian's silly smile and laughed too. At this time, Qi Jinmin immediately became a national treasure like the giant panda in his family. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 1146. 1144. Tang Jian returned home, picked up the phone, and reported the good news to his parents at home, saying, "Mom, Jinmin is pregnant." Ms. Tang was listening to the phone. When she heard this, she almost dropped the phone in her hand and said, "What? Are you pregnant?" "Yes," Tang Jian said, "Jinmin, I'm pregnant, but the doctor said it's best for the baby to be stable for 3 months before taking trains or planes, so we can't go back during the Chinese New Year." "Is Jinmin okay?" Ms. Tang said excitedly. "It doesn't matter if she can't go home for the New Year. As long as she can have one more grandchild, she doesn't care about anything else." "It's okay, but I can't take long-distance buses or planes," Tang Jian said, making his parents feel more comfortable and relieving the regret that he and Jinmin couldn't go home for the New Year. Ms. Tang nodded and said, "It's okay. Just stay with Jinmin and let her have a good pregnancy. Don't think too much about anything." "Yes, Mom, you tell Dad," Tang Jian said, smiling brightly. "I will tell you, your dad is out for a walk. He would be very happy to know." Ms. Tang said, "Is it convenient for Jinmin to answer the phone?" "Convenient." Tang Jian said. Qi Jinmin was beside him. Qi Jinmin was answering the phone and talking to her mother-in-law. Tang Jian could hardly vent his excitement, so he took out his wallet and said to Huo Ruiman and others, "Ruiman, come on, give each of you a red envelope and use it to buy some gadgets." Tang Jian gave 100 to each person. Huo Ruiman's eyes lit up, and she said as if the auspicious words were free of charge, "Congratulations, Uncle Tang, on becoming a father again." "Have a son soon," Huo Ruwa said. "Both sons and daughters," Huo Xianxian said. Huo Xiaosan scratched his head. He didn't have so many auspicious words. He thought about what the adults had said before, "Have a few more babies." Everyone laughed after hearing this. Tang Jian was so happy that he took out another card from his bag and gave it to Huo Xiaosan. Can this be considered a fool's blessing? After Huo Ruwa and Huo Ruiman turned 10, he Tian asked them to keep their pocket money, so the two of them pocketed the money directly. Huo Xianxian and Huo Xiaosan honestly gave the money to He Tian and asked her to help save it. He Tian accepted it happily and put it away later. This was the child's money. She only had the right to keep it, not to dispose of it. She would give it to the child when they were 10 years old. Tang Jian's son, Tang Yu, became anxious when he saw that everyone had money but his father would not give it to them or him. He hugged his father's thigh and shouted, "Money, Dad, money, I want it." Tang Jian was very happy to see his son's money obsession. He knew the importance of money since he was a child, and he would also be a good candidate for doing business in the future. I'll give you one too. Tang Qian smiled and took out another 100 yuan from his wallet. After Tang Yu got the money, he smiled happily. After looking at it for a few times, he took the money and ran to He Tian. He handed the money to He Tian and said, "Auntie, here it is." It is estimated that Tang Yu saw Huo Xiaosan and Huo Xianxian giving the money to He Tian, so after he got it, he also gave the money to He Tian. When Tang Qian saw this, he cursed, "You little loser." He Tian was surprised, picked up Tang Yu, and said, "You is great, you are not a loser. If you insist on saying so, then you are a loser." Seeing her aunt's compliments, Tang Yu smiled so hard that she couldn't even see her eyes. Everyone was so amused by the cute Tang Yu that they couldn't stop laughing. Qi Zhenmin lay on Tang Qian's shoulder, laughing so hard that he could hardly stand. There was a lot of laughter. Besides, after Mrs. Tang hung up the phone, she didn't mind that it was cold outside, and happily ran out to find the old man who was walking outside. Mr. Tang was talking to Mr. Huo while walking in the villa. Seeing Mrs. Tang face to face, she smiled brightly and walked briskly and said, "Old Tang, there is another happy event in your family." Mr. Tang was puzzled and asked, "How do you say this? Your old lady is smiling so hard that she can't see her teeth. She comes straight to you. There must be a big happy event. Ordinary things are not worthy of Madam-in-law coming out to find you. It's so cold outside. You also know that Madam-in-law has always been afraid of the cold. Once she arrives, in winter, I don't want to come out." After hearing this, Mr. Tang saw his wife smiling brightly and said with a smile, "I'll lend you some good advice." "Haha, I also want to hear what a good thing it is," Mr. Huo said. "I also enjoy your family's happiness." "Okay," Mr. Tang said. At this time, the old lady also came to the front. "What are you so happy about?" Mrs. Tang saw that it was the old man of the Huo family, not an outsider. Even if he was not in front of the old man of the Huo family, the old man could know it from He Tian, so it was better to tell him directly. "Xiaosi called just now and said that Zhenmin is pregnant," Mrs. Tang said excitedly. "We will have grandchildren again soon." Upon hearing this, Mr. Tang also smiled and said immediately, "By the way, it's family planning now, and this second child is against the rules." Mr. Huo is envious. The Tang family used to be a single generation like him, but in their generation, he has 2 sons, and the old man has 3 sons and 1 daughter, twice as many as him. The third generation is much better than him. Now that Tang Qian can still have a second child, it's really a matter of comparing people with each other, so just throw away the comparison of goods. You are really confused. That Zhenmin has American nationality and grew up in the United States. He can have a second child, Mrs. Tang said excitedly. This was the happiest time of the year for her. "Congratulations, sister-in-law," Mr. Huo said, with such envy in his tone. "Haha, we are happy together, we are happy together." Mrs. Tang smiled and said, "Stop talking, you continue walking, I will go back and prepare some things for them to send." Without waiting for the 2 old men to answer, they happily walked away quickly. "Watch your steps," Mr. Tang reminded him, smiling so hard that his eyes almost disappeared, and he touched his beard from time to time. Mr. Huo looked at Mr. Tang with envy and said, "Your son is right to marry Qi Zhenmin." "Yes," Mr. Tang agreed, "it was worth all the effort. Now that Xiaosi and his wife are harmonious and have a successful career, I can close my eyes even if I die." "Okay," Mr. Huo said disdainfully, "they say good people don't live long, bad people live for 10,000 years, a 1,000-year-old king and an 80,000-year-old tortoise. You're still early. You can't say anything nice to comfort me. Besides, I'm not a good person, but I'm not a bad person either," Mr. Tang said. "I've never done anything harmful to nature." "Haha, Come on, don't get the advantage and act like a good boy, Mr. Huo said. If Tang Qian's family is still a boy, your family will have 5 younger boys and 4 girls. You are really full of children and grandchildren. Think about it, your family is not bad, Mr. Tang said. 4 great-grandsons, 2 great-granddaughters, and 1 great-grandson are much better than those families. Don't be dissatisfied. The families that Mr. Tang mentioned were originally single-generation families, and the children were girls. They had to let their juniors raise illegitimate children outside. In the future, they may only be able to train more disciples and former officials. I recommend Kikai's new book Rebirth of Sweet Wife, The Strongest Agent. I hope you will vote for me. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1147. 1145. Mr. Huo understood, they were all old rivals, who didn't understand the water. He smiled unscrupulously. You are still the culprit, Mr. Huo chuckled, but it comes from my heart, ha ha ha. You old guy, you're full of evil, and you pretend to be stupid and bold on your face, so you can only deceive others. You can't deceive me, Mr. Tang said. How could you escape unscathed from that catastrophe? Being able to plan in advance and advance to the next level is not something that a big boss who can only shout and kill can control. Without careful thinking, it is absolutely impossible. Haha, lucky, lucky, Mr. Huo started to argue again. Come on, it's such a big happy event. I'll go to your house for a drink in the evening. I'll be happy. Then you must come, Mr. Tang said. I have a few bottles of good wine here. Now that you are here, the old woman will let me drink 2 glasses of wine for your sake. If no one comes, I won't let me drink. I will be bored to death. I'm just greedy for your good wine, Mr. Huo said. Today I finally got you to drink it willingly. Mr. Huo is a good drinker, so he has finished all the good wine. The wine offered by the children was very expensive, but it didn't taste that good. The 2 old men were in a happy mood and went home. Mr. Huo misses Huo Yingjun's youngest son and several children in Huo Yingji's family. As for Huo Ruxiang growing up, he is in front of his eyes every day, so he doesn't worry about it anymore. As for Huo Yingji, he was so busy at the base every day that he had no time to miss home. Gong Huo, why don't you go to eat? Asked one of my colleagues. Gong Li, the food in the canteen today is good and tastes good. Huo Yingji shook his head and said, I have no appetite. No matter how delicious it is not as delicious as the food at home. Huo Yingji did not look up, but looked at the photo frame in his hand. This was a family portrait of their family. His parents are in good health and he is not worried. He was worried about the 3 children at home. Tian must be very tired to train and discipline the children alone. Huo Yingji still didn't know that the little turtle had transformed into a little girl and became their daughter. When Li Gong saw Huo Yingji looking at the photos, he also took out his family photo from the drawer and said, Are you homesick? I do too. This is my wife and daughter. After speaking, Li Gong showed the photo to Huo Yingji. Huo Yingji looked at it, nodded and said, Your daughter is very cute. It's very cute, Li Gong said, it's just that she was too young. I got married late and didn't have a child until I was 35. When I left, I was only over a year old. Not to mention how reluctant I was to let him go. I can't bear to leave home either, Huo Yingji said, reaching out and stroking the children's faces. Li Gong saw Huo Yingji's photo and said with envy, You are so kind, you have 3 children. Haha, yes, I got married early, in 1976. When I gave birth to my 3rd son, I caught up with the family planning program. Fortunately, I got pregnant before the family planning was implemented, Huo Yingji said. If it was later, it may not be possible to save it. Even if it can be saved, there will probably be a lot of trouble. Yes, it seems that I can only have 1 daughter in this life, Li Gong said, but it doesn't matter. I think it is good that I can marry a wife and have a daughter. After all, I am engaged in research, and every day they are all accompanied by all kinds of data and experimental equipment, and people are not flexible, so it is difficult to find someone. It's always good to be content, Huo Yingji said. I have 2 kids at home, but the one I love the most is my daughter, who is so well behaved. Daughters are indeed more well behaved than sons, Li Gong said. In my previous workplace, a colleague gave birth to a pair of twin sons. Everyone was envious of them. But when the children could walk, they would beat dogs and chase chickens, and they would be naughty and cause trouble. Neighbors came to complain. Even though I was beaten, I didn't remember it and continued to be naughty. Haha, the boy is indeed very naughty, Huo Yingji said. Hey, we are already here. It has been almost 3 months. We don't know when it will be completed. Why don't you go home early? Li Gong was also lamenting and said, yeah, it's the Chinese New Year soon. My parents died young, my wife's parents are gone, and I'm not at home. It's just my wife with the children. It feels bad to think about it. This project is so big that we will not be given any exceptions. We can only work hard and hope to complete it as soon as possible. I hope so too. Huo Yingji was very fond of this colleague and roommate. He felt that having someone here to talk about the situation at home would make him less homesick as before. The 2 of them were silent. Li Gong took out his cigarette, lit it, and took a puff to relieve his worries. Huo Yingji didn't smoke before, but now he wants to smoke. Gong Li, give me a cigarette, Huo Yingji said. He wanted to smoke, but he didn't have any. Li Gong was stunned, handed a cigarette to Huo Yingji and said, haha, I brought you to smoke too. Haha, I'm very sleepy, but I can't sleep, Huo Yingji said. Looking at how happy you are smoking, I'll give it a try too. This cigarette, it doesn't matter if you smoke 1 or 2, but you can't get addicted to it. It will be difficult to quit smoking in the future. Li Gong kindly reminded Huo Yingji that smoking is harmful to health. Everyone knows that, but few people can successfully quit smoking. So Li Gong doesn't want Huo Yingji to get addicted to smoking. Huo Yingji smiled and said, it's okay, I'll just smoke 1. Li Gong handed the matches and cigarette case to Huo Yingji. Huo Yingji took out a cigarette from it, lit it, and took a puff, cough cough cough. Although he smoked in his previous life, in this life, because he Tian didn't like it, he stopped smoking. In addition, there are many children in the family, and they cannot be allowed to smoke second-hand smoke. You're not used to it, Li Gong said. If you're not used to it, then don't smoke. It's not a good thing anyway. Huo Yingji smiled and said, it's okay, just smoke 1. He thought that things were more complicated, and it would take at least 2 or 3 years to complete this project. Although he had some good ideas, he couldn't talk about it because he was not responsible for that area. The people here are all outstanding people in the Science and Technology Bureau at this stage. Huo Yingji is famous in the circle, but only in terms of materials. In other aspects, people will not recognize him. Huo Yingji also knew that he was a man of few words and was too lazy to say anything. Anyway, it was only a matter of time before he could figure it out. Just can't go home. Huo Yingji tried to use his clone to go back, but he unexpectedly found that there were cultivators nearby. He might not be able to find out if he left these people. It is estimated that they will find out about the clone problem. To be on the safe side, Huo Yingji can only stay here. Although it is my favorite field, it is no different from going to jail. After smoking, Huo Yingji went to the bathroom to brush his teeth and came back to sleep. If you don't think about it anymore, you can't go home even if you think about it. I just wish my family is well. Recommend Yuangua's book The Second Master of the Red Mansion to travel through time and become Lin Rui's concubine. As a person appointed by Cao Gong to die, Lin Lu felt the deep malice from the universe. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1148. 1146. Besides, Qi Jinmin was pregnant, so He Tian had to go up the mountain to the Shenlong temple with the baby. He Tian personally asked Kui Ying's father Kui Yong to come and measure the construction of the Shenlong temple. There are a total of 999 steps at a height of more than 200 meters, and there are 9 turns and 9 bends on the road. At every corner, there will be a path extending for more than 10 meters a day. At the end of the road, some are small pavilions with a large garden next to them, or next to the small pavilions, there is a fountain, and some are a few beautiful birds whose names are unknown. Every little scene is unique. He Tian was very curious and brought a camera to take pictures of the children. There is also a turning point that actually extends directly to Daowen. That's the peach garden, little Spin Turtle whispered. She remembered that there was a barrier there, and the Snake King was still practicing in it. It was also where he played. Yes, I miss you so much, He Tian said. Do you remember the past? The little spinner nodded and said, well, yes. By the way, Mom, if you have time, can you take me to the place where I was dug out? What are you missing? He Tian was surprised. It's just an ordinary river. The little turtle shook his head and said, that is not an ordinary river. It is a river in Daowen County, Fuse. Because of that river, there will be fertile land on both sides. He Tian nodded and said, well, you are right. Since you want to go, I will take you there another day. Actually, there is another reason why I went, the little spinner whispered. I have been taken care of by my mother all day long, and I want to get some good things from the river to honor my mother. Ah, He Tian was stunned and said in surprise, what good things can be found in the river? Of course there are good things, said the little spinner turtle. Although it is a branch of the canal and not as busy as the Grand Canal, there are still many ships passing by. Many treasure ships have sunk in the past. I remember that many ships sank in some places. Silver ingot. Ah, He Tian was surprised, is there a treasure ship over there? But we used to plow the river a lot. If there was one, we would have discovered it long ago. The little turtle smiled mysteriously and said, there was once a group of famous robbers who robbed several treasure ships, but they did not sink. Instead, they transported them to smaller branches, and then they were caught up. Those people couldn't take them away. It can only sink the ship. Now the place has become a wetland due to the accumulation of silt. There are several ships underneath, and there is a lot of silver in them. So that's it, He Tian suddenly realized. Then how can we transport it back just for the two of us? And there's no way to explain it? Besides, those antiques have been underwater for such a long time, and when they are brought up and exposed to oxygen, they will also going bad. The little turtle smiled and took out a pendant from his neck. He Tian took a closer look and saw that it was a shrunken turtle shell. This is my condensed enchantment space, the little spinner turtle said. It's very big inside and can be installed in it without worrying about oxygen erosion. Then can you handle it all by yourself? He Tian said. Why don't you ask the Snake King if he is free? Let him do it with you, so as not to tire you out. Okay, I'll contact the Snake King tonight, the little turtle said with a smile. In the past, those things were useless to her, but now that she is a human being, eating, drinking and having sex all cost money. She is embarrassed to spend her family's money. She wasn't a real child after all. Seeing her mother and sister struggling behind, Hua Ruiman shouted from the front, Mom, sister, hurry up, the mistress is already in front. Seeing this, He Tian quickly said, here we come, Ruiman, stop your brother and don't let him run away from the mountain, otherwise his legs will hurt at night. He Tian caught up with them and picked up Huo Xiaosan. As for the little spinner turtle, he followed his elder brother and sister and ran ahead. Huo Xiaosan screamed anxiously, but he Tian still refused to let him go. The child was young and had to cherish his legs. It was already 2 hours later when we finally climbed up the mountain. When they arrived at the Shenlong temple, he Tian gave 5 yuan to put in the merit box, and then got 3 sticks of incense to burn incense. The children also followed suit and worshipped. This dragon temple was built because of the existence of the Snake King. At the same time, he Tian was reborn by chance. Here, he Tian is more pious than ordinary people. So did the little spin turtle, and she also thanked the Snake King. Haha, you are here. Kui Hong came out wearing a Taoist robe. He Tian was surprised, then smiled, and said, "It turns out to be Professor Kui." Kui Hong has so many identities. He is an archaeological expert, an archaeology professor, and an antique dealer. Now he has become a Taoist priest. Haha, now I am no longer a professor, but a Taoist priest. Kui Hong said, "I am now the leader here and practice here." He Tian nodded and said, "The beautiful mountains and clear waters here are indeed suitable for cultivation. Since you're here, I'll show you around." Kui Hong said, "The dragon temple is very big, so I'm afraid you will get lost." "Then I'll trouble you, Master Kui." He Tian smiled and said, "By the way, you are the master, so what kind of sect are you in now?" "I have chosen a very good name, Shenlong section." Kui Hong said proudly, "My senior brother has agreed. This is the earthly sect of our Xiaoao section. In this sect of yours, you alone can't do it. Do you have any disciples?" He Tian was curious, which was quite interesting. Kui Hong smiled and said, "Listen carefully." He Tian concentrated and heard ha, ha, ha. Not far away. It's the voice of a child. "Taoist priest, why are there so many children's voices?" He Tian asked. "It sounds like there are quite a lot of them, there are probably 70 or 80 people. You can accept so many disciples at once." "Not many," Kui Hong said, "these are the children at the bottom of the mountain who want to learn martial arts. I just teach them martial arts. I find 2 or 3 with good bones and make them my apprentices. There are not many noble disciples." "That's right," He Tian agreed, "after all, the mantle will be passed down in the future. As for the others, just learn some self-defense skills." "Yeah, that's what I planned, so every afternoon after school, and during the day on weekends, I come here to practice martial arts," Kui Hong said. "Not to mention, with these guys, I find it much more interesting, and my cultivation is better than practicing behind closed doors." "Great effect. So Professor Kui is born to be a teacher," He Tian praised. "Let's go and have a look." Huo Xiaosan had already gotten off her mother's back and ran over following the sound. In a courtyard here, many brothers are practicing martial arts. Huo Xiaosan also followed. Hum hum ha ha, the movements are quite standard, like that. I would like to ask for some recommendation votes for the new book. Rebirth of Sweet Wife, the Strongest Agent, thank you. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1149. 1147. Huo Xiaosan is indeed a good candidate for martial arts. But Huo Xiaosan is Huo Yingji's child. His father is so awesome. Kui Hong is jealous, but it is not easy to accept Huo Xiaosan as his apprentice. "Haha, you little brat," He Tian smiled, "you are not easy to take care of." Huo Ruiman was very supportive. He kept clapping for his brother and kept saying, "My brother is so awesome." Huo Xiaosan was as proud as a peacock. Kui Hong looked at his apprentices and a child boxing, and felt a sense of accomplishment. He also had many students all over the world. Xiaosan is a good candidate. "Do you usually learn martial arts with Yingja at home?" Kui Hong asked. If not, he wanted to accept him. I have been practicing with brother Yingji since I was very young. He Tian smiled. My eldest son, eldest daughter, and the eldest grandson of my uncle's family also practiced some self-defense kung fu with me. I see, Kui Hong said. I didn't see how the other children were, but I know that Xiaosan has a talent for martial arts. Don't waste his talent. Yes, Yingji said so too, and although he is young, he has strong athletic ability and runs very fast. He Tian said that for children, He Tian does not ask them to be excellent in all aspects, but only asks for good character and to develop their own strengths and advantages. For example, He Tian does not force Huo Xiaosan's grades, and he can do whatever he wants. There are so many roads, and there is always a suitable one. The children played around the Shenlong temple and ate vegetarian food there, and He Tian took them away. In the afternoon, they slowly went down the mountain and went to the hot springs. They went directly to soak for a while and found a skilled masser to give everyone a massage. Then when they got to the foot of the mountain, the children did not want to walk. He Tian spent money and took a rickshaw in the Republican-style street block. 2 yuan per car, He Tian called 6 cars to take them home. The children had a lot of fun today. When they got home, they had dinner and went to sleep. Grandma Chi-san smiled and said, "You really took the children to play there for a whole day." "Haha, the children like this," He Tian said. "We are also like this in Yanjing, often go out to climb mountains and play." Although some places have been to several times, the children are still very happy when they say they go out to play. "So that's the case," Grandma Chi-san said. "Children like to go out with their parents, as long as the adults accompany them. When they are older, the children feel that they have grown up and like to go out by themselves." Yes, He Tian nodded. Ruxiang, the child of Yingjun's eldest brother, is now in junior high school. That's the case. He doesn't like us to go out, and has his own small circle. Fortunately, there are people around him who follow him secretly, otherwise Grandpa and Grandma would be worried. "You have been here for a long time this time, when are you going back?" Grandma Chi-san asked, although she was a little reluctant, "But there is no banquet that will never end, and you always have to leave." He Tian was a little reluctant, but she didn't show it on her face. She said, "Today is the 22nd day of the 12th lunar month. I plan to go back on the 26th day of the 12th lunar month. Anyway, if I go back early, I will have nothing to do. I will stay with you here for a while." "Okay," Grandma Chi-san said. "After all, you are married, and I can't keep you here for the new year. If Jinmin was not suitable for taking a car or a plane, I would have let her go back. After all, her husband's family is also waiting eagerly." Grandma Chi-san has always been like this, pushing others to do things as she does, and trying to make things perfect. He Tian smiled and said, "Haha, the grandma and grandpa of the Tang family are nice people. Jinmin is sensible and they like her very much. Grandma, you don't have to worry about Jinmin being bullied in the Tang family. Besides, I have been married for so many years, and no one in the Huo family says anything bad about me." "Humph," Grandma Chi-san was a little proud. "That's natural. You and Jinmin are both first-class good girls. If they still dislike you, then you are really nitpicking and looking for trouble. With such high standards, you are destined to not find a good daughter-in-law." He Tian covered her mouth and laughed, saying, "Grandma, you are so confident. Those who look down on us are just not good at judging people, nitpicking and can't marry a good daughter-in-law. That's natural. My own granddaughter is naturally good," Grandma Chi-san said. "You should stand up straight in your husband's family and don't be timid." "I've remembered it, Grandma," He Tian said. She learned a lot about how to behave from Grandma Chi-san, which will benefit her for the rest of her life. Well, life is still long, and we, the older generation, will have to leave you one day. How to live and how to make yourself comfortable in the future can only rely on you." Grandma Chi-san sighed, in a blink of an eye, I am already over 80, and in a few years I will be 90, because I don't have many years to live. Seeing you are doing well, I can also close my eyes with peace of mind. If these granddaughters and grandsons are not living well, they really can't close their eyes even if they die. At this time, Chi Jinmin came in from outside and brought 2 bowls of bird's nest. Why did you bring it yourself? You should call me, He Tian said. There is a nanny at home, but now that the family has come, they try to do some things like serving rice and dishes by themselves. Haha, it's okay, just bring 2 bowls of bird's nest porridge, Chi Jinmin said. Grandma, sister Tian, 1 bowl for each of you. He Tian took it and said, put it there, I'll take it, you have a good rest, don't tire yourself out. It's okay, I know it myself, Chi Jinmin smiled. Why don't you drink any more? He Tian asked, handing a bowl to Grandma Chi-san. I've already had a bowl, Chi Jinmin said, there are many more, so I'll bring them to you. After drinking the bird's nest porridge, He Tian looked at Chi Jinmin and asked, Tang Qian went back yesterday, is he coming back? Chi Jinmin's face turned slightly red and he said he would go take care of business and tell his father-in-law and mother-in-law, and then he would come over to accompany me. Well, that's good, He Tian said, then I can rest assured. Before leaving, He Tian went to sit with a few familiar people. Chi Daniu was unable to come out from confinement, so He Tian gave a lot of children's clothes to bid farewell to Chi Daniu. In a blink of an eye, it was the 26th day of the 12th lunar month, and He Tian had to leave. Wake up the children early in the morning, put on thick cotton clothes and cotton shoes, and say goodbye to Grandma Chi-san and Old Man Chi. It's hard for you to take care of 4 children by yourself. Take good care of yourself. Grandma Chi-san touched He Tian's face and said, you must take care of yourself so that you can take good care of others. Yes, I understand, Grandma, you and Grandpa Chi should take care of themselves, He Tian said. Uncle Chi, Auntie Anne, and Jinmin, Zhengan will spend the new year with you, so I can rest assured. Grandma Chi-san choked up and said, if you are good, I will be good. Well, He Tian said, hugging Grandma Chi-san, Grandma, if you are good, I will be good. The 2 looked at each other and smiled without saying a word. After that, He Tian got in the car and went straight to the airport in Hawaii City. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1150. 1148. The plane had been checked inside and out beforehand, and only when there were no problems did they take the children on board. In fact, not only did someone do the inspection, but also the amazing little turtle. Okay, the little turtle made a gesture to He Tian, we can go home safely. That's great, He Tian smiled, hugged the little turtle and kissed it, and the security check will be more guaranteed in the future. Because they got up early, the children fell asleep one after another after the plane stabilized. He Tian was worried and covered them with blankets to prevent colds. Maybe the children were too sleepy, and they woke up slowly when the plane was about to arrive in Yanjing. Here, He Tian got off the plane with the children. There were 2 commercial vehicles parked at the special channel, and they got in the car and left directly. When they got home, Zhang Lifang and Huo Jekan went home 2 hours earlier than them. Seeing the children come back, Zhang Lifang was so happy. Oh, is this Xian? Zhang Lifang said happily, come, show it to Grandma. Zhang Lifang learned about Xiao Xuan's identity from the phone before. Now she was adopted by He Tian. She is also her granddaughter. He Tian also sent her photos, which made her very happy. She prepared a gift for the meeting early. Xiao Xuangi walked forward and said shyly, hello Grandma, I am Xian. Okay, this is a gift from Grandma. Zhang Lifang smiled and took out an exquisite box from her pocket. There was a piece of Hishan jade pendant in it. Xiao Suangi looked at He Tian and didn't take it. Take it, grandma gave it to you, so don't be polite, He Tian said and nodded. Thank you grandma. Xiao Suangi took it and handed it to He Tian. It's a good child. Zhang Lifang nodded and said, it's a good child. Come, that's grandpa. Hello grandpa, Xiao Suangi said respectfully, acting like a child. Huo Jekan smiled, touched the little turtle's head and said, Xian is also good. Come, this is a gift from grandpa. Huo Jekan took out a pocket watch, which was actually gold on the outside and very delicate. Thank you, grandpa, the little turtle said. Grandpa and grandma are so nice. Xian will be very good, and will be good to grandpa and grandma in the future. Yeah, okay, Xian is really good. Huo Jekan nodded. Although there are 2 grandsons and 1 granddaughter in the family, 1 more is not too much. If you train them well, they may also be the strength of the family in the future. The little turtle was also very happy. Everyone liked her, which gave her a new understanding of this family. Mom, when did you arrive? He Tian asked. I used to arrive at night. We just got home for 2 hours. Did you have fun in Kijia village? Zhang Lifang asked. The daughter-in-law was busy all year round. During the summer vacation, she had no time to go to Kijia village. It was understandable to go there during the winter vacation. Although Zhang Lifang also missed the children, she also respected He Tian's decision. Besides, the son is on a business trip again, and the family has to rely on He Tian alone, which is very hard. Although there are people around to take care of and protect, they are not relatives after all, and the education of the children still depends on He Tian. Zhang Lifang was a little excited when she thought that she could come back next year. Happy, there is a Shenlong temple there, and even in winter, there are hot springs, which are very comfortable to soak in. He Tian said, if there is a chance, I will take you there, Mom, to relieve fatigue and muscle strain. Okay, I'll go if I have a chance, Zhang Lifang said. You should bring back a lot of cured meat as soon as you go back. I like to eat the sausage there the most. Haha, I brought a lot, He Tian said. Mom, leave the children to my father-in-law, let's go to sort out the New Year's goods. I brought a lot of good things, let's pick some and send some to a few familiar families. Okay, let's go together, Zhang Lifang said. She also likes to do these things, especially with her daughter-in-law, she can chat while doing them. This time, the things shipped over were several hundred kilograms. There are hundreds of kilograms of sausages inside, as well as local specialty bacon, preserved fruits, tea, etc. Seeing so many cotton shoes, Zhang Lifang's eyes lit up and said, oh, I like to wear such cotton shoes at home. There are so many here. Do you have any for your grandma? The grandma here is naturally Huo Yingji's grandma, Zhang Lifang's mother. When Zhang Lifang said this, there was actually a test element. Bought so many shoes. If there are her mothers, it proves that He Tian always thinks about her mother in her natal family. That's her mother-in-law's mother, how could He Tian leave it behind? Anyway, if Mrs. Huo has it, the grandma and grandpa of the Zhang family over there will also have it. This time, He Tian even bought it for her grandmother, father, mother, and He Daodu who were abroad. Yes, He Tian smiled, not only grandmas, but also grandpas, and uncles and aunts. Okay, Zhang Lifang smiled, which shows that she usually takes care of her natal family. Actually, this is somewhat helpless. Zhang Lifang can't go back to Yanjing often. At most, she can write letters, make phone calls, and send some things. She can only ask He Tian and Huo Yingji to visit and help out often. Let's go to Grandma's house tomorrow and give the New Year gifts to Grandpa and Grandma, He Tian said. The day after tomorrow we will visit Grandma and Grandpa and send the New Year gifts over. Before leaving, He Tian asked Lu Wangzia to purchase the New Year gifts for the family. Those in other places have been mailed, so it's enough to send them to a few familiar families. Although Huo Yingjia is not at home, the Huo family is still lively during the new year. He Tian visits relatives and friends to give gifts, and He Tian also attends the company's annual meeting to cheer up employees and distribute bonuses. Tang Qian called and asked He Tian to go there on the night of the 28th of the 12th lunar month. It turned out that several shareholders were holding an annual meeting. The main purpose is to distribute money, and this time the shareholders are here. The Snake King finally came back before the Chinese New Year. Who would be filming during the Chinese New Year? Tang Qian distributed a copy of the financial statements to each shareholder and said, "This year's dividends exclude expenses and next year's budget. Each person will receive a small amount of dividends based on their shares, so that everyone can have more confidence in me as a major shareholder." "Haha, we have always had confidence in you," He Tian said, "we are all our own people." To make a long story short, we are all very busy during the new year. Chi Xiaoyan even took the time to come over from CCTV's rehearsal venue to eat cake and have a meeting. Although Zhang Wenwen is not very busy anymore, she is still designing clothes there with a manuscript. I wonder if Zhang Wenwen can still get inspiration in the conference room. Yuan Hua looked at the account book of the beauty magazine in front of him. He also realized a profit this year. Of course, this cannot be compared with Tang Qian, but there are also profits of hundreds of thousands. I believe there will be more in the future. Yes, Brother Tang's ability is obvious to all, Chi Xiaoyan said, "We believe in you. It doesn't matter how much you pay. I just want to ask, what big plans does our Tang dynasty have for next year?" Thank you everyone for your tips and subscriptions. Kikai shamelessly asked everyone to recommend and vote for the new book Rebirth of Sweet Wife, The Strongest Agent. Thank you. By the way, don't forget to save it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 1151. 1149. Tang Qian opened the notebook in front of him and found a lot of things written on it. Since everyone is concerned about this, I will tell you about it so that everyone can understand. Tang Qian said, "First of all, I am preparing to make a movie, a martial arts movie set in the late Qing dynasty." "Then which character do you want to photograph?" He Tian asked. "Since it is modern times, it is a real person, and some things are also based on evidence, so the plot is required to be more compact." "Yes, it's the martial arts master Huang Fiheng in the late Qing dynasty. I saw a good book in Xiangjiang. I thought it was very interesting, so I bought it," Tang Qian said, "and according to the story, there are also some series movie." Ahem, He Tian was startled. Did Jet Li's film in his previous life end up in Tang Qian's hands? This is incredible. What's wrong? You don't like it? Tang Qian asked. "This is the script. If you are interested, you can read it." Tang Qian valued He Tian's opinion very much, so he proposed to let He Tian read the script. He Tian took it and saw that it was indeed that movie. She flipped through a few pages and nodded, "Well, not bad. Let's take this one. If it sells well, we'll start making a few more movies." "Yes, I think so too," Tang Qian said. He was very happy to get He Tian's approval and could do it with confidence. Chi Xiaoyan finished eating and asked, "What about the second thing? You're not going to give me a second cassette, are you?" "That's a trivial matter," Tang Qian said, "your cassette sold well last time. Next year, if you find a good producer to make good songs for you, you don't have to worry." "What's the second big thing?" Yuan Hua asked, curious. Knowing the company's plan, she could also formulate corresponding magazine content. Everyone watched together with Tang Qian. "Haha, This request will definitely surprise you, Tang Qian said. I'm going to do something big. Say it quickly, don't be pretentious. He Tian became curious. What is it? I am planning to hold a film festival in Yanjing, Tang Qian said. In the future, Yanjing will become a feast for Chinese films. He Tian thought for a while and said, the country already has related awards such as the 100 Flowers Award and the Golden Rooster Award. How can we hold another one? Isn't it a bit unnecessary? No way, Tang Qian said, our focus is different. Those national interest awards focus on literature, art, and politics, but we are taking the path of commercial films, focusing on commercial films. I have a hunch that commercial films, the spring of movies, is coming soon. I have to say that Tang Qian's premonition was a bit wrong this time. He Tian shook her head and said, but our country implements public opinion officialdom and media control. It is still too early to talk about commercial movies. Although our movie was successful this time, it will be different in the future. I am not saying that we can't make good movies. But the country's policies have not changed, and there is no fertile ground for commercial movies. When Tang Qian heard what He Tian said, he nodded and said, I had a conversation with a leader of the Ministry of Culture before and talked about cultural reform and learning from foreign countries, so I think it is feasible. Tang Qian, you can continue to investigate the commercial film festival, or you can talk to your old man when you have time. Sometimes we don't just learn from foreign countries, He Tian said. In the past 2 years, we have required stability, can't be impatient. He Tian's hint was very clear. I hope Tang Qian can understand. He Tian didn't know much about politics in his previous life, but Huo Yingjia knew that. When chatting with He Tian, he talked about the turmoil in 1989 and insisted on learning from abroad. Some people use this wind to fan the flames. Seeing what He Tian said, Tang Qian looked at the others and asked, what do you say? Li Xian said lazily while drinking tea, haha, you just decide, I will listen. He is usually very busy, but now that he has time to rest, he doesn't care about these things and doesn't want to think about it. Qi Xiaoyan, Yuan Hua, and Wang Ying didn't want to get involved. They didn't understand much about this. It's up to you to decide, we're just here to listen, Yuan Hua said. He didn't have any good suggestions or opinions on this, so he remained silent. Okay, I'll go back and think about it, Tang Qian said. The matter of organizing a film festival is very complicated and involves many interests, so we really need to be cautious. If we can't do it next year, then I will save my energy and do it again at a suitable time in the future. He Tian nodded and said, I agree. Seeing that He Tian agreed, others also expressed their agreement. If we can't hold a film festival, then we will make two-step movies, Tang Qian said. We will use good works to enrich people's material lives. Yeah, He Tian nodded and agreed. We need to cultivate more potential actors and singers. Whether they participate in commercial performances or other activities, they can bring in income and increase their popularity. At the same time, the entertainment industry, it is still an emerging industry and it cannot always be smooth sailing, so we must be mentally prepared to endure setbacks. Haha, Tian is right. Tang Qian has always had this worry, but he was afraid that shareholders would not understand and would be sorry for their investment, so he kept thinking about it. All emerging things are like this, He Tian said, so when we are developing in the early stage, it is best to win with stability. Everyone agreed. In the entertainment company, Tang Qian and He Tian have also formed a position of decision-making authority. After Tang Qian held the shareholders' meeting, he went home to talk to his old father. Father, are there any new trends in learning from foreign countries in terms of culture? Tang Qian asked. His father's political sensitivity was much better than that of a layman like him. Especially He Tian reminded him to go home and ask the old man. After hearing this, Mr. Tang asked in surprise, why do you ask this? Dad, I run an entertainment company. Of course I want to know more about it, Tang Qian said. There used to be literary inquisition, but now the culture is not as feudal as before, but there are also many taboos. Originally, I wanted to learn from foreign countries and open a commercial film festival, but Yingji's daughter-in-law objected, saying that there may be different solutions to the cultural aspect. After hearing this, Mr. Tang pondered for a moment and said, "Actually, I think Tian Tian is right about this matter. Since ancient times, our country has believed that the mouth of the people is better than the river, so we have always had more control over the cultural field. Now the economic reform has achieved initial results, but there are also many problems, so there will be corresponding cultural countermeasures. Anyway, your commercial film festival is really not suitable to be done now." The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 1152. 1150. Oops, he Tian Tian really got it right. Tang Qian was surprised and said, "I didn't expect that he Tian Tian could see so deeply." "Haha, don't look at what the Huo family does," Mr. Tang said. "Huo Yingjun's wife went abroad with Huo Yingjun, and he Tian Tian is engaged in business, athletes, and some political matters. The Huo family naturally wants to tell he Tian Tian that when she acts outside, she can be measured and know what she is doing, so as not to touch the bottom line outside." "I see," Tang Qian said. "No wonder you talk about family or political matters every day during dinner." "Yes, this is not only for you, but also for Jinmin," Mr. Tang said. "I didn't expect you to be Tian Tian sensitive yet. It seems that you will have to study more in the future, and you can't be ignorant. Otherwise, something happened, and I don't know why." "Well, I'll pay attention in the future," Tang Qian said. "No wonder Jinmin listens very carefully every time you talk. If there is something you don't understand, he will ask me when he gets back." "Haha, that's how it should be," Mr. Tang said. "If you know how to use your brain and know how to ask, nothing will happen to you. Oh my, if I get you this wife, your mother and I will be able to close our eyes 100 years later. As long as you don't do anything stupid. I guess I will be fine in this life. With such a smart mother's guidance, we don't have to worry about our grandchildren." "Dad, why do you say such things again?" "You are in good health," Tang Qian said. "From now on, you will be in a good mood every day and live a long life with my mother." "Okay, who can live a long life? I have experienced so much in this life, and I have looked away. Now that you are well, I am completely relieved," Mr. Tang said with emotion. "Haha, are you so optimistic about Jinmin?" Tang Qian was a little proud and wanted to hear his father praise Qi Jinmin. "That's his wife? He has worked so hard to catch up, and he is so sweet and happy." "Of course," Mr. Tang said, "children spend a lot of time with their mothers, so they are greatly influenced by their mothers. I won't talk about other families, but look at our family. Are your brothers and sisters' work style and temperament influenced by their mothers? A bigger impact?" "Yes," Tang Qian nodded, "but my temper seems to be up to you." "That's because I'm retired and have time to discipline you," Mr. Tang said. "Think about the Huo family again. Then Huo Jekan, will Huo Jekan be yours, Uncle Huo, or Aunt Huo? Uncle Huo is just a rough guy, shrewd inside, but his style of doing things is a bit fierce," Tang Qian said. "The two brothers of the Huo family are gentle and elegant. They are indeed more like Aunt Huo. They even look similar, but the male in their family Ding is just as tall as Uncle Huo, so I can only say that the children of the Huo family are really growing up, and they are becoming more beautiful with each passing generation." Mr. Tang was deeply convinced and said, "I am older than your Uncle Huo, and I was already married at that time. But your Uncle Huo was not. We have other comrades, colleagues who are married to comrades or workers, but your Uncle Huo is in the Red Army during the process." The illiterate old man insisted on marrying the lady of a big capitalist. "At that time, we all thought that your Uncle Huo was attracted by her beauty. Only later did we realize that your junior was outstanding. This shows that your Uncle Huo is very shrewd. Of course, you, and Huo, were quite good looking when you were young. Tang Qian found it interesting and asked, Dad, my mother is illiterate. To be honest, my mother looks ordinary. How can you, who is so versatile, live with my mother? When his son was chatting with him, Mr. Tang smiled proudly and said, Of course it's because your mother is tall. The genes of our old Tang family have been completely changed by me, so we are as tall as your brothers and sisters. Tang Qian was stunned. Thinking about his father's height, which seemed to be less than 1.7 meters, he was indeed a bit short. He said sarcastically, I didn't expect there was such a statement. What's the basis for it? I've never heard of the old saying, Dad is taller, Mom is taller than the rest of the family, Mr. Tang said confidently, showing his foresight. Tang Qian scratched his head, a little puzzled, and said, Dad, are you making this up? How come I've only heard of a raging army and a den of raging soldiers? That's because you are ignorant, Mr. Tang said, I have a brother who died young and a sister. They are not as tall as me. Your grandfather and grandmother are not tall either. There is no tall person in our Tang family. But I married after your mother, look at your 4 brothers and sisters. The shortest of them is your sister, who is also 1.68 meters tall. This is all due to your mother. Your mother is the hero of our old Tang family. Of course I like your mother. I'm dizzy, the feelings of the older generation are so interesting. Haha, it can still be like this, Tang Qian said with a smile, no wonder you liked Jinmin so much at that time, because you are tall. Yes, he is tall and has fair skin, Mr. Tang said, look at your children. They are prettier than others. It shows that you have married the right daughter-in-law. Well, Tang Qian actually thought what his father said made sense. His wife is very nice and his children are beautiful. Okay, you should go back and have a rest early. You have to get up early to catch a flight tomorrow, Mr. Tang said, you have your brothers and sisters at home to spend the new year with us, so you can go back and spend the new year with Jinmin. It's rare that your father-in-law and mother-in-law are also back. Have a good time together. My son is unfilial and cannot spend the new year with his father and mother. Tang Qian felt a little guilty. Haha, we have a long way to go. Let's stay close to our in-laws first. After all, we are always together. They only come back once a year. It is human nature to want to get along well with our daughter. Besides, Jinmin is also pregnant. Jinmin is pregnant. It's a time when we need people to care about us, so we can rest assured if you go, Mr. Tang said. He understood his son and took the lead in everything, and no one could say anything wrong. At this time, Mrs. Tang came in and said, Xiaoxi, I have prepared a lot of things for you. When you go to Yu's house tomorrow, you must bring it with you, and you must also replenish Jinmin. Mom, don't worry, Tang Qian said, there are many people in the Yu family who will take care of Jinmin. Hey, I don't feel at ease when I'm not in front of you, Mrs. Tang said, when you go, don't make Jinmin angry. If a pregnant woman is angry, the child born will not look good, so remember this. Tang Qian nodded and said, remember it, Mom. The 2 elders in his hometown gave Tang Qian numerous warnings and advices to take good care of Qi Jinmin. The second elder even calls Qi Jinmin every day to talk and care about his daughter-in-law. Because Qi Jinmin is pregnant, the Tang family is very busy during the Chinese New Year this year. The second elder is in a good mood and the younger generations are also very happy. Shamelessly advertise the new book Reborn Sweet Wife, The Strongest Agent. After a new life, Mo Xiaomi deeply felt that it was imperative to embrace a golden thigh. But a certain man, where are you hugging me? Xiaomi, the third leg is also a leg. A certain man, well, hold me tight for the rest of my life. This is the story of a little girl who deliberately tried to hug someone's thigh but was counterattacked. She cutely and stupidly pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger, and then made a gorgeous counterattack and reached the pinnacle of her life.